Welcome back to another reaction to Noble Reincarnation, Born Blessed. So I will obtain ultimate power, episode 2. Last episode, we got a little bit of an introduction. It was not as bad as I assumed. I'm still iffy on the power. Are we OP? Are we not? We will have to see. I do like the idea behind some of the additional stats we got. So again, not as bad as the title makes out, but we will have to see. Cautiously optimistic.
ミーレス帝国帝都国の政治の中心であり
So we have another female voice introduction. Last time it went into the main character. We did get some kind of female character at the end of the episode. That was in some kind of theater, I assume. So I guess that is the one we are going to have as the main character now. At least for this episode. Okay. Something about the king.
文化の中心であり経済の中心でもあるこの町はいつしかこのように呼ばれるようになりました。この地上で最も栄えた都市と。
Okay.
ここがレイド通り。売り出し中の歌い手がいる。
Again. We're doing this again. This is clearly a female voice.
いつしかこのように呼ばれるようになりました。この地上で最も栄えた都市と。ここがレイド通り。
And now we are back to him. I'm assuming that this character has a female voice actress. But the one that we heard before, I feel like it's a different character. I could be wrong. Could also be just a narrator. So we will have to see. So we are back in the most prosperous city in the world.
売り出し中の歌い手がいるって宦官たちが話してたな。
And this popular singer is the girl we got introduced to at the end of last episode.
行ってみるか。お供いたします。故郷のことの恩返しをというから仕事を増やしてやったが。
I gave Zoe more work to thank her for her help with her home village. I feel like this translation, I assume you gave her some kind of increase, not only work related but financially. I'm assuming you are giving her more money. In what way, I don't really care, but you give her more money, right? Not more work. More work, not more money, doesn't really make sense. So you give her more money.
どうぞ。うん。よく働くし、細やかな気遣いもできる。一皮むけたな。
She's older than you. And she is, I assume, an adult. Why do I feel like some of these symbols seem familiar? Is there maybe like a fantasy alphabet that people just use? Something that is somewhat widely distributed? Some of these seem familiar. What do we have? The middle one could be T, could be a plus. The right of that could be a T as well, upside down. I don't know. I feel like there's an M, an E, maybe a D.
優秀な人材ってのはいくらいても言い過ぎることはないからな。
So yeah. So he has E plus SS. Now, does it mean he has SS class water magic, but his own stat is E? Or does it just mean he has an increase of his water magic, like a modifier that makes it then, you take all these three stats and you divide them by the amount of stats you have. So in this case, maybe you are down to A or B level. I don't really know how this works. Is it just SS level? Because, but nonetheless, you have ways to grow. And I like the idea that depending on what kind of followers you have, is increasing these stats, which again makes it a lot more feasible for you to be a king. So he is here because of this singer. Why? Do you want to recruit her?
"確かアリーチェと言ったか。なるほど、悪くない。技術は途上の域だが真剣に、そしてひたむきに歌ってきたこと。
Are you now a music critic? What are you talking
が
about?
伺える。きっと真面目な子なんだろう。
何こんなとこでチンタラ歌ってんだ。
お客様、おやめください。
どけ。おめえの父ちゃんが作った借金はんな稼ぎじゃ返せねえだろ。です
が、私にはこの方法しか。
皆まで言わせんなよ。
This scene is stupid. Straight up. It's the whole, oh, we can't use the same idea as everyone else uses, so we try to mix it up and fail. Because this is the typical, oh, she needs to pay back the money of her dad. So these are the debtors, and they're like, there are ways to earn a lot of money. And normally this would be behind the scenes. This would not be done in the open. Because in most cases, this debt that the dad has acquired is normally not being paid off by the children. They don't have to pay it off most of the time. So essentially this is borderline, if not illegal, in most of these stories, and they do it behind scenes so they can use their strengths, their scariness to force someone more or less to do it, even though it would be illegal if someone were to step in. But because they don't know, they can force them to do whatever they want. Doing it out in the open is not really something you would do. Mostly because in the end, it is, let's say she has to pay the money back. Let's say she is in debt. They can't really do much. They can just force her to pay the money. Now, if she doesn't pay the money, in most cases, there's a judicial system, and she would then be imprisoned because she doesn't pay back the money. Now, that is not what they want. They want to get as much money as they can, which again makes more sense to do it behind the scenes and not in the open.
女なら女の稼
Because here they have the problem of if anyone is here that is calling their bluff, then this is null and void.
ぎ方があるだろう。
おい
Again, the scene is stupid. They could have done so many other ways. She could just, instead of having assholes here, she could have just be a good singer that works for this establishment to pay off the debt. And he could have swooped in, done. But now it's not enough to be just good. Now he has to be a hero.
ご主人様
なんだガキはママのおっぱいでも吸ってろ。
帝国法第67条の2親の借金を子に肩代わりさせてはなら
It is even illegal here. In most cases, in most stories, it's borderline. Here it's illegal. This makes it even more stupid.
ない父親の借金を娘にそれも体を売って返せってのはれっきとした罪だ。
なめんじゃねえクソガキ。なんだこいつは。
So now he can summon the sword. Now this, being able to summon the sword, maybe he learns that he made like some kind of pact, or the sword and him agree to work together. We do know the sword does have a will. This is fine. Last episode, it was more stupid because he was antagonizing someone without being able to do this. In this way, he's able to summon his sword. The sword is very strong. It makes sense that he is able to be more steadfast and doesn't need to back down.
まだやるか。
覚えてや
おい、連中がまた来たら俺のところに来いと言ってやれ。こちらです。
親王様。
What do you mean if they turn up again, send them to the prince? Yeah, he's going to be, yo, go to the prince, and they're going to say, no. Why would they ever follow your command?
さっきの歌良かったぞ。お前の月の生活費はいくらだ？その母の医療費もあるので。25リン。
25 per month is nearly double, so it is more than double. It's nearly 2.5 times the amount that an adult may get.
毎月それだけ渡すから安心して歌え。上達したら増やしてやる。ありがとうございます。では続きを聞かせてくれ。
I would have liked a little bit of an eternalization. Because at this point we just have to assume reasons why he does this. I mean, it could be from the good of his heart, but you don't need to pay that much. You only have a limited amount of money. Now, if we find out he internalized, hey, maybe he experimented, we saw his stats, I believe, again, so maybe not. But if you find out he experimented with different followers to see what the stats do, and he decided, maybe try to get someone higher skilled as a follower, like her as the singer, see how the stats then are, and if she gets better, are the stats going to the bonus? Is it going to evolve? If that would be the reason, this would all be totally make sense, would be fine. If not, why are we here? Straight up, why are we here for the songstress? Just because someone said, oh, there's a good singer, and you decided, hey, it's your day off? I did not hear any day off kind of thing. Because otherwise, we are here for no apparent reason. Now, if we have other stuff to do in the city, sure. It's like, hey, we are here to meet with a prince or with another brother, and on the way, we can check it out. Okay. I hope we do something like this. We did not. So this is, I'm assuming this is part of a novel. The novel may have delved a little bit deeper into this. I can only speak for the anime. This is poorly done. Again, the whole situation was already stupid from the get-go. But why are we even there? Why are we in the city? There has to be a reason just to check it out. It's a little bit flimsy for someone who most likely has a lot of stuff to do. That is why. Just fill it out a little bit. I'm assuming the novel did. But in the anime, they just cut that out, which is not a good idea. Just have them shopping. That would already be enough. Just have them talk a little bit. Hey, today is a day off. We are checking out the prosperous city to get our bearing a little bit more. So many ways to be like, hey, there's a reason we go to the city. The songstress is just a side note. We are checking it out. It wouldn't really explain why you pay her so much money, especially because you did not really resolve the issue at hand. These thugs, they are still going to come for her. So it is not well done. In the anime, at least.
あの連中は金貸しと申しておりました。ああ、あいつらか。ご主人様に謝罪をさせていただきたいとのことでしたが。
Okay. Okay. I see. Now he was like, okay, if they come back, send them to me. Now my assumption was they would be more or less shady people that are working behind the scenes, maybe in more on the shadow side of the city. You always have like an underbelly. And that was my assumption. In this case, they would never come here because there's no reason. They just keep operating on the underbelly. On the other hand, coming here to apologize, to try and at least be more neutral to the prince makes some sense for future business relations. It's not that they necessarily want to do business with the prince, but they don't want him to have a negative opinion of them and potentially hunt them down. So I can see that happening.
今さら俺の身分を知ったわけか。
especially if they are somewhat on the gray side, so they do official business, but also unofficial one.
追い返せ。親王ってのは会おうと思って会えるものなのかと言ってやれ。かしこまりました。
What are you doing? Oh yeah, if they come back, send them to me. Hey, I told you to come to me, but go away.
いい処置だ。
ヘンリー・アニューエ。
あのような連中に軽々しくあっては王族と親王の格が下がるからな。
それもあるのですが、もう一つ訳がありまして。
ほ
ここではなんですし、どうぞ奥へ。
うほう、歌い手に援助。
ですから、俺がまだ怒ってると思わせておいた方が彼女に手出しできなくなるかなと。
そんなに良かったのか、その娘の歌は。
取らないでくださいよ。
I mean, fair enough.
しかし、その年でそこまで考えられるとはな。お前に年が近いフランクからギャリーまではそうはいかん。
そうですか。
皆まだまだ子供だ。特にギャリーがな。いくら教えても礼法を覚えん。
もう少ししたらわかりますよ。兄弟とはいえ俺たちの母親はそれぞれ違う。そんな中で母親が同じヘンリー・アニューエとギャリーにはまた違ったつながりがあるのだろうな。
ところ
All the different concubines, okay.
で魔剣の話だが、うまく従えているようだな。
アニューエのおかげです。やはり魔剣には意志がありました。
だがどうやって持ち歩いてる？お前にはまだ大きすぎるだろ
それがそうでもなくて。
う。ん？どこから出した？
袖に隠していました。こうやって。
Oh, I assumed he would pull it out from like a storage kind of thing, but he can minimize it. Okay. Interesting.
こいつが教えてくれたんです。
前代未聞だ。国宝という体で隔離して200年。それ以前の記録でもこんなことはなかった。
So why did your crown prince pull it out? Was it just to see if it can be tamed? So he can take it back later?
ただただすごい脱帽だ。あれがそうか。
のようですね。
もう我慢ならねえ。調子こぎやがってしかとこ。
What is this writing? Come on. You had a system going on where they came here to more or less apologize or whatever, to not be seen as negative. And so that means they agreed or accepted, hey, this is not good. He's part of the royalty. We don't want to be seen negatively, so the royalty doesn't hunt us down. So we're going to apologize. He sent you away, first off. That was at least what he told the butler. Or made one of the two. But you still stayed. And now you're getting mad at royalty. That is, whatever happens. You know, all the stuff before, you didn't know, you attacked him, fine, you came here to try and mend the relationship somewhat, okay. You do not get mad at royalty. You don't get mad at nobles, first off, and especially not royalty. Ever. It always ends bad. It is even better to not get even involved with royalty. So, you know, maybe don't be angry. This, again, makes no sense. it would make sense if they did not appear here to apologize. Because again, that means they accepted and agreed that going against the prince is a bad idea, and now you go against the prince. This makes no sense.
おいでんじゃねえぞクソガキやバカ野郎何やってんだてめえなんざいつでもぶっ殺してやるんだぞこれ
Is that did you just use magic?
バカやおとなしく謝ってろ
今度は
Who's
何
that?
をしたんだ
こいつの力を少しだけ解放して威嚇に使ったんです。
本当
So instead of being good at water magic or being good at any magic, the sword is doing everything. The sword is everything is a sword. Don't really like that. Now he's still young. But I would like him to do stuff and not the sword, which also means that he's not really S rank in water magic. He's still E rank, but the sword is S rank and the city is S rank. Again, don't really like that. I would like him to do anything because at the moment it's like all the power's in the sword, and you are only powerful because you got an overpowered item that did not kill you for unknown reason.
ここに手なずけているな
ようこそいらしてくださいましたノア殿下。
What is this? We are visiting someone in the
お
evening?
招きありがとうレイドーク。
Oh, we got invited.
楽しい夜になりそうだな。
Okay, it's a ball. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I should probably check. This is one of those things you just take for granted. Whenever a ball is happening, it's in the evening. Why? Is there a reason? Where balls always in the evening? Or is it just something we just accepted? What time did balls usually start? Formal parties and balls began late at night. That seems to not be right. This is one side tells us it's late at night. The emperor gave his consent to hold an evening in the opera house. I feel like we would need to delve deeper. Some sources say that most balls were only a few hours. One, and that is Substack, tells us that they started late at night and went into the morning. But there's only one recorded case where a ball went into the morning hours. So I guess it started evening. Maybe it has all to do with the preparations for everyone because they had to do, especially the woman, had to get all the clothes fitted. They probably had to take a bath, get all the clothes, all the makeup. This probably took like 3 hours or so as a time. So it had to be at least afternoon, I assume. Fair enough. It's just that this is one of the parts we just accepted. Balls were held in the evening, but I don't really know why. Because then you need lights stuff. It would make more sense to do it in the afternoon, maybe, where still light is out. Otherwise, I mean, in the summer, maybe in the evening or night because it's cooler. I don't know.
あのお方が13殿下。
幼いのになんと凛々しい。
さすが陛下の巫女。
そういえば殿下、お越しのものは。
これか。これは皇太子殿下から賜ったレビアタンという。
あの国宝の皇太子殿下直々に。
そういえば13殿下の放置はアルメリア。
なるほど、それつながりで。
どうせ偽物のおもちゃだろ。
Again, why do we have stupid characters? There's no reason for this character to be here. None whatsoever. Because he is in an official setting slighting the royal family. Not only him, but also the crown prince. It makes no sense. If you want the character to show off the sword, you could just ask. You know, one of the people could, maybe the one that is holding the ball, could ask the prince, could we see the royal treasure maybe in its glory? Because this is a royal treasure that was not seen for 200 years. So people, rightfully so, would be interested in seeing it in action, maybe. So they could ask the prince if they were to maybe show it off a little bit, make it an attraction for the ball, make it something that everyone is going to talk about. There are many ways to do this, not in this somewhat stupid way. And the prince could always also say no. But you could, an adult aristocrat could potentially talk his way around issues. But this, I feel, is stupid. I also don't know why he has the sword because he wants to show it off. Why? He has his own reasons. Maybe to get this connection with the crown prince. So people know, oh, the crown prince gave you a very expensive gift. So there's like the brotherhood there, even if there's not. Because he could have just had it in his sleeve again. But he wanted to show it off. So another way where the aristocracy could have, the nobles could have coaxed him into showing off the sword in another way than having someone be like, oh, it's probably a toy.
主である俺が侮辱されて頭にきたか。忠実なのはいいがやりすぎだ。
The master did not get insulted, the weapon got insulted. But it would be totally fine if he were to say, did you get angry because someone made fun of you? Totally fine. The sword can have his own personality, where it is one strong sword, He doesn't want to be made light of as a toy. Understandable. No one said anything about you, really. He said the sword is a toy. He didn't even say anything to you, so he didn't make fun of you.
よくされて頭にきたか。
Eh.
忠実なのはいいがやりすぎだ。
いやはやさすがでございますぞ殿下。今の一瞬死というものを全員が等しく感じたでしょう。それが国宝の力。そして殿下はその圧倒的な力をも御していらっしゃるのです。
And again, this character, totally fine. This was a big situation. He's putting it in somewhat of a good light. He is buttering up to the prince. Makes all sense. All good. And he could have probably gotten the situation going without having the stupid character on the side by coaxing him into showing off the sword a little bit.
私たち殿下の一言で助かったの。
やはりあれは本物。
お見事です、十三親王殿下。
あの男はいかがなさいますか。
放っておけ。どうせもう居場所はない。
I have no idea what he thought would happen. Slighting royal family. No one wants to interact with you anymore. Just in case you get punished at some point. I don't want to be near you.
お初にお目にかかります殿下。
ああ、
貿易商のランス・ローリンソンでございます。このような機会を賜り、身に余る光栄に存じます。
アラン商会を取りまとめておりますバイロン・アランと申します。ご尊願を拝謁し、恐悦至極にございます。
娘のシンディ・アランでございます。
その娘養子か何かか。
ご存知だったのですか。
いや、見ればわかるんだ。アラン、お前の方は2代目か3代目だろう。
はい。
お前の立ち居振る舞いは生まれついての上流階級のものだ。だがその子にはそれがない。
なるほど、さすがのご敬願ですな。
しかも奴隷だった子を養女にしたんだな。
そこまでお分かりになるんですか。
動揺したし。瞬間、こちらを伺うような眼差しに変わった。一度でも奴隷となった者特有の目だ。
ご推察の通りです。もともとは奴隷として買ったのですが、大変覚えがよく、養子にしていろいろと教えているのでございます。
いいな、そういうのは好きだ。
Okay. This guy's situation, totally understandable. Okay, he was some kind of noble, but second or third son. He presumably opened his own branch of a store. Fair enough. He bought her as a slave. He learned really quickly, so instead of having her as slave do like miscellaneous work, he adopts her to have as someone to take over the company. Okay. Or whatever. Totally fine. Now, the prince, on the other hand, why do you know what a slave is like? We more or less know you were not a noble. We don't really know what you did your last life. So, how do you know all of this? How they behave? How you can read that she is adopted? Because you can see it, which already questionable. And then you are like, yeah, she behaves like a slave. Why do you know that? What were you really doing in your last life? The main problem here is that we have to be careful to not give this character too many overpowered things. If in his last life he was around slaves, he knew the whole catastrophe happening, someone is going to take advantage of that. Maybe he was around slaves, so he knows how they behave. He had to have been involved with slaves a lot more than just a little bit then. And this would be fine if we go, okay, last life he did this. The problem is we can't. It is too easy to take the previous life as a crutch, to give him whatever knowledge he needs to make him seem cool or OP or great. And if someone asks, oh, why do you know that? Oh, my past life. It's too easy to do that. So we have to be careful not to overdo that and to rely on other people a bit more. That is why I'm a little bit...
今度屋敷に招待しよう。その子の話をもっと聞かせてくれ。
This is also a problem because all the time he is shown as somewhat smart because he has his past life, he knows how to behave, yada yada yada. This is not what you do. This is a very bad situation unless he has a plan. The problem is we don't get to hear any plans. So he likes this. Fair enough. He likes that he adopted her. He likes the story. That is fair enough. Already far too much as a prince to say in the noble area because everyone is going to listen to you. Everyone is going to try to do the same. Especially now you have invited them. Everyone is going to adopt or get slaves. They don't know what exactly this pair did that you found interesting. So they are going to buy slaves, maybe adopt them, maybe not, maybe teach them, maybe not, just to appeal to you. So additionally, you have invited a potential fiance person, which is, you have to be careful.
はい、喜んで。では失礼いたします。
引き際もわきまえているな。
賢い男です。これ以上は嫉妬を買いすぎますからな。
初めて殿下のお眼鏡にかなうものが。
なんと羨ましい。
あの子が実の娘じゃないと分かった理由はもう一つある。
お？
この通りだ。最初の威嚇からあの子はずっと。
Now this, a little bit of the explanation. Now I can understand why he knows that it's not his daughter. So he bought her as more or less a bodyguard. And she seems very sensible to this whole aggression
この通りだ。
or threatening aura. So, okay. Now it makes more sense that he knew that she was not his daughter. Okay. Now he could also assume that if it's not his daughter, she is responding to the threat. So she's potentially a bodyguard. So the idea is that potentially she could be a slave. Okay. I can see why. So I'm also assuming that him saying that he finds the story interesting, inviting them, is also with an idea why he's doing that.
最初の威嚇からあの子はずっとバイロを守っている。あの年頃なら普通は守ってもらう側だろ。
確かに最初から見ていらしたとはなんという視野の広さ。このレイドーク、本日は殿下に感服しきりでございます。
But there's always a problem that we did not really get told that he may have a bigger plan inviting them. It may be that maybe he wants to have slaves be, or to get slaves to have a better life. Maybe there's another plan. Maybe he wants to get close to the girl. Fair enough. Maybe he wants to get close to the trader himself. We don't really know. We did not really get told. Maybe we get the information whenever this meeting is going to happen. However, some of the aspects are a lot better. Sure, okay. Doesn't really make the earlier stuff make more sense with the idiot. Unless he planted the idiot, which would be a solid idea, but seemingly he did not.
いや、ノアじゃないか。
This is not the guy you were talking about, right? That is a brother of the other guy that doesn't have manners.
オスカー兄上、
こんなところで何してるんだい？
ちょっとぶらついてました。
馬車にも乗らずに？相変わらず面白いね、ノアは。そうだ、暇なら一緒に宝探しなんてどうだい？
なるほど、コバルト通りですか。
お、来たことあるのかい？
いえ、話に聞いただけです。帝国中の骨董品が集まる通りだと。
偽物も多いけどね。その中から本物のお宝を見つけ出すのが貴族のたしなみってわけさ。
You know, these are two princes without any escort, nothing. I mean, he's heavily armored. He probably has a sword somewhere. But our little prince doesn't have any armor. A little bit dangerous.
ダメだ。今日は外れだったよ。
そうですか。これいくら
3リーンだよ。
どうしたんだい？掘り出し物でも見つけたかい？
いえ、少し気になって。
これは間違いない。伝説の大魔術師アンドレアの魔術書、しかも原点だ。
You know, the story is like ebb and flow. Some parts I'm like, okay, interesting. Some parts I'm like, what is going on? What is this bullshit? Really, you were here with him the whole time. You never looked at this once. Now it's supposedly the grimoire of some super mage.
まさにお宝だよ。内容にもよるけど、1000リーンはくだらないはずだ。すごいな。どうしてわかったんだい？
分かったわけじゃない。この本に触った時、風の力にプラスがついた。それで買ってみただけだ。
I like his reason why he bought it. Totally fine. We bring in the interesting stat system. I find very nice. Do you need to blow it up? Couldn't it have been like a good item where he's like, oh, yes, that is a solid find. You know, maybe 100 Rian worth, depending on the collector. You did a good job, you know, not a big treasure, but a little bit. Instead of being like, oh my fucking god, it's the ancient, awesome, fuck me item.
プラス。
ノア、
俺の能力にプラスがつくのは意志を持つ者のみ。
Only beings with their own will can add to my stats. Are we really going to say that? Sword makes sense. Mates make sense. So the book has a will on its own. You know what also has a will? The city. You know it gave you plus S to your water. Unless you mean, oh, all the people in the city give you the stats and their will counts. The idea would not be bad. I mean, it wouldn't really help you find more treasure because not every treasure has a will. But the city part is then a little bit shaky, don't you think? Unless the city has a will on its own. Which it could.
のみならばこの中には。
なんだ。
By the way, we could have done this somewhere else. Just saying.
まさか本人の魂を封じ込めた禁書。逃げろノア。そいつは風を極めた大魔術師の怨霊だ。
But now our guy is so awesome, so great, so good that he's going to subdue the spirit and he gets plus S to win.
消えろ。
By the way, not his magic. This is all the sword. First off, he checked his stats. The plus is gone, meaning that maybe the spirit is gone. However, he doesn't have the item in his possession anymore, so he doesn't know if the will is gone.
僕なら。そうだ。町の被害は。
大丈夫です。上に向かって撃ちましたから。
あの一瞬でそんな判断まで。いつの間にそんな強くなったんだ。
失礼いたします。
何者だ。
この通りで骨董品店を営んでおりますアラン・バーズリーと申します。13殿下の偉業を拝見し、ぜひお目にかけたい品物がございまして。
お宝でもあるのか。
であれば良いのですが。
I mean, there's no real reason to deny. If someone comes up to you and is like, he feels like he has something he would like you to see. On the other hand, they are royalty, so they have to decide who to grant time to.
こちらでございます。真の持ち主が現れし時のみ真の姿を見せるという曰く付きの指輪でございます。今までさまざまな方に見せてまいりましたが、ついぞ反応がなく。
ガラクタなんじゃないのか。
私もそう考え何度か処分しました。ですが戻ってくるのです。
戻ってくる。
はい、いつの間にかこの店に勝手に。なので何かあるのだけは間違いないかと。
面白いじゃないか。ノア、つけてみなよ。
Why would you not try it on yourself?
兄上がおっしゃるなら。
や
レベル限界確認。
声。
レア度 SSS。新たな持ち主と承認。鎧か。
これが真の姿。
鎧だと。ステータスに変化はない。先ほどの魔術師やレビアタンとは違う存在のようだが、使い道は多そうだな。アラン、これをもらう。
What do you mean? There's no change in my stats. What are these letters? What are they? Are they not a change in your stats? Because I feel like they are definitely a change in the... This whole screen is... Oh, wow, okay. Oh, wow. First off, we just established that only a being that has its own will can change your stats, so it has its own will. There's no change in my stats. Your stats have all changed. Mostly, not all. So there is a clear change. I don't know what the translation is doing there. Now, one part that is very strange. Why is the second S on water gone? We got E, main stat, plus S for the sword and S for the city. Why are they gone? Pretty sure we had them a second earlier. Right? Or did I just not acknowledge that? There you go. Double S. So it's not even, oh, we are not in the city. That is why you don't get the S or whatever. No, they just fucked up. Straight up. The only thing that this character has going for it was double S in water. And they're gone.
に変化はない。先ほ
It is the same, okay, not the same sort of being sure. Because it increases all of the stats somehow. I'm not even talking about the bullshit that we go through that he now has. He not only got a sword gifted to him, he now has an armor that he can summon.
どの魔術師やレビアタンとは違う存在のようだが。
That also increases his fire, I'm assuming his fire, by quite a bit.
使い道は多そうだな。アラン、これをもらおう。謝礼は後で届けさせる。
いや、ここは僕に払わせてほしい。
兄上。
僕からのプレゼントだ。魔剣の次は魔法の鎧。やっぱりノアは何か違うね。
His position I could maybe understand. Depending. It just, hey, make the 13th prince a little bit more prevalent, a little bit more powerful, a little bit more important. Give him the magic armor. So he may be a threat to the crown prince. So if they ever battle it out, that maybe Oscar can swoop in and take a little bit of that. At least he's not the main focus of the fight. I can see that reasoning. Otherwise, I don't really know why you would pay for your brother stuff. This is not oh, you're my brother and I love you kind of deal. Because they have 13 brothers. And the other ones they probably don't treat as well.
家まで送らなくていいのかい？
ええ、迎えがいますので。では今日はありがとうございました。
死ねクソガキ！
ご主人様。
貴様、何
何をする。話せ、くそ。
お前か。しつこいやつだな。大丈夫ですか？あ
ノア、今のは
いただいたこいつをレビアタンとリンクさせておいたんです。敵意に反応して自動防御として機能したみたいですね。
Mm.
自動防御。もう使いこなしてるのか。すごいな。
Oh, Sugoi. Oh, yay. I do love. How many episodes are we? We have a bit of like 10. No, second episode. Yep. Awesome. I I hate how they do this. Why do we position these characters in such a situation that they are OP? They are. Is that what people really enjoy? Why even have this? Why not just start OP then? Because this is not really a growth time. It's not like we can enjoy him growing stronger. We can be at his side. No, it's the second episode. Now this, it would make more sense to be like, hey, we are in the city, we had the ball, we stay a night, next day we're walking around, see the prince, we go to the whole artifact hunting thing, fine, and then we go to the singer on the way back home. This makes a lot more sense instead of just coming here and then going.
あの金貸しは終わりだろう。後で伝えて安心させてやるか。
よう、いい歌だったぞ。ジョーちゃん100してくれ。
すみません、そういうのは。
引っ込んでろ。
この女はな、俺が先に目つけてたんだよ。
言ってえな。やん。
This establishment should have some people trying to push them back. I'm assuming you not only have singing here, you also have like drinks, maybe something to eat. And you would normally have people that are then going to push these guys off the stage. Or the problem is this is all just so he can go back in for. I don't want this fucking glaze. Just let them kill each other. Don't care.
すいませんでした。
すごい剣さばきだったぞ。
バカ、親王様だよ。
申し訳ございません、親王様。
天使か。もうああいうのは入れるな。
ですが、この店は実質あのような客に支えられているようなものでして、私どもも商売として。
わかったわかった。
Don't give him money, don't give him money, don't give him money, don't give him money.
なら店ごと買う。
Okay. He could have given her money to keep the stuff running, but he's like, hey, I'm going to buy the stuff. Okay. Fair enough. You can do stuff with it. This is also one of those things. I hope this has some relevance of, hey, he's building a little store here.
殿下。
ゾイ。
はい。
What are you doing? What is this bullshit?
1000リーンある。
Why do you have so much money with you? This makes no sense at all.
足りるな。
はい、ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。
殿下、こんなにしてくださって私、どうご恩をお返しすればいいのか。
歌えばいい。俺がお前に求めてるのは歌だ。お前は歌ってさえいればいいんだ。
私の歌をそこまで。
I have no idea.
ああ、期待している。 いずれ陛下にも聞かせたい。それまで精進しろ。
So I'm assuming his stats are going up now. Would his stats go up for every person that is inside the establishment, similar to the city?
それではもう一曲聴いてください。
And we go into the ending. Man, you know, the first episode I was optimistic. I'm not that optimistic anymore. We still have one episode left for the 3 episodes. The worst part is that you could have done this all more elegantly. A lot better solutions to some of these situations you wanted to showcase would have made a lot more sense, a lot more interesting, less obvious that you just try to force situations so you can show off. It's sad because there could have been some potential here. Even with the sword on his side, it could have been a little bit back and forth, longer fighting for the sword to acknowledge you. You can use the sword in some interesting ways, we saw, with his threatening. And this was what allowed him to identify this is not his daughter, more likely some kind of bodyguard. But there's so many parts that are just, why? It's more sad for me, always. Because there could have been something good going on. Maybe they turn it around. I'm not hopeful though.